Darkside, make sure your fucking mute is off.
Your
BJ,
settings are correct.
yeah,
The OBS
I think
mutes and
OBS is looking good.
your
Uh,
mic isn't on or whatever. You
you gotta,
get the right mic at the right place.
you gotta get your camera because I'm the only sexy bitch on here. Anyway, we are recording, so do your thing, man.
Hey guys, welcome to Over40watch, the podcast about a bunch of middle-agers that love playing Overwatch. I'm your host, DrBeejay, and along with, as always, Mr. Darkside, the
Ooh,
Darkside.
Mr. Darkside, that is my father, Mr. Palpatine. We call him Palps. Hey, BJ, how are you doing today?
I'm great. I mean, I'm so excited. This is it. This is
This
finally it.
this is
The
this is the
very first inaugural episode of our chat or
the over
podcast.
40 watch is official as of today. It's a lot of fucking hard work. a lot of,
Yes.
a lot of mic checks, a lot of sound checks. We'll get it right
And this is
eventually.
it. Yes, sir. So, man, and how are you doing? I should ask.
uh I'm tired. We talked about it earlier. I'm exhausted. It's been an
Both
emotionally
are.
draining day at work. Um yeah, I all I wanted to do all day is sit down and play Reinhardt and beat some fucking heads in. And yeah, eventually that will happen at some point.
It will.
It's a
Later
very
tonight,
active
hopefully.
night on the farm tonight, so I'm hoping to get in on some of that action. Go full chat on somebody. It'll make me feel better.
Yeah. So, I mean, to kick this off, let's talk about what we're doing here. What this is all about. What is over 40 watch, right?
That is the question. Would you I was actually gonna ask you the question, but
Oh, you
do you
go
want to
ahead.
explain exactly what it is we're doing here or
I can explain. So, I mean, over 40 watch is about a bunch of us that are a little older on the farm and that, recognize each other. I mean, it started out, I don't know, maybe Darkside, you were here before us. Dudeman and I were talking back and forth in some channels, and we realized that like we're older dudes, right? Like I'm 43, he's 41. Um,
45?
Dark, yeah, and I mean, and then just playing together, few of us realized that
You
we're in our 40s and
you
we're
realize
hardcore.
you really realize your mortality when you're in a chat playing a game with a bunch of kids that are literally 2 years older than your own daughter. And so it's nice to have even if it's a small collective of like-minded individuals who don't quite always have the reflexes, who don't always see everything that's going on like some of these young punks, but we still try to get the job done. Uh,
We have life experience.
that's
That's
it,
what we
because life
have going
experience
for us.
translates into gaming so well.
Well, sometimes,
It was all a
sometimes.
dream. My teachers never said I'd grow up to be anything, but I did it. I did it, Mom.
Oh, I mean, we've been. I mean, yeah, we're past our prime, obviously, but I mean, we were young once, right? We made our mistakes.
Haven't you heard, BJ? 40 is the new 20.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
That's good to know.
I'm 25 all over again. Look out, world.
Well, anyway, like a few of us we started grouping up, and we had a channel together, and some of us invited others, and like got Crow in here. We got Geek, Viking King, we call Geek, and then Jin came in, and then there was five of us, right?
Yes.
There was six of us with Dude Man,
Yeah.
and so we got to talking, and over a few sessions we played together, we were like, wouldn't it be like cool to like hang out, make this team together, and like, and while we're making a team, and a lot of us are really interested in the nitty gritty, the stats, how things work. I mean, like Darkside, you like taking things apart and putting them back together, right? And like I'm a science guy. I like my figures and my charts, and like some of us are early into that stuff, and we figured like, why
Overly
don't we?
analytical. Analytical is the word I would use. You analyze everything.
Yeah. So we got to thinking like, wouldn't it be cool if we all got brand new accounts and then got our levels 25s and not touched comp and just play as a team together, fresh accounts, see how things fall. I mean, is there an elo hell? Uh, who's gaining SR faster than someone else? Why is that happening? What are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? Can we like get under the hood of how this whole SR gain things happens? I mean, there's some things we know, right? We know that you get SR win. We know that there's like a team difference, SR gain or loss. But like, what else is there? How does that work? And like, we thought
Exactly.
that maybe we'd like take a crack at that. I mean, let's play together, place our accounts in this season that's just starting today, or yesterday started actually, and then like play as a team, play coordinated, try hard, and like just track as much stuff as we can track, like our wins, who we're playing. I don't know if we want to go as far as kills and deaths and healing per 10 and all that stuff, but we can definitely track it long term. And like, okay, who's getting, like, we're gonna chart stuff, right? Like, so what's the SR gain? What's the SR loss for each individual? What roles were they playing? Who's doing better on what role? Why? What are they doing different than someone else is on their team's doing?
And see how this all affects our placements and our gains and our losses throughout the season. I think like this is, I know me personally, this is the second time I've ever played with an actual team in ladder. Foul we played in scrim, so it doesn't really count. But to play on ladder with one consistent team, working on things together, tracking these stats, monitoring things together to see exactly how does this whole thing work. Like, we play the games, we win, we get the SR, we lose the SR. Some of us lose more than others. But how does it all really work? And I'm definitely not a math science nerd like you guys are, so I'm really interested to see how this stuff all plays out behind the scenes of me just getting on and playing. Like, well, what are the real effects going on here? So
that's right. And I mean, and then we're also going to mitigate stuff like, like just before we started this, like we had Jin saying, man, I always get these levers, Crow the same, like we're just eliminating all that. We're going to be a 6-stack. We're not going to get like bad manners. We're not going to get people rage quitting. We're not going to get Smurfs that ruin games. I play against them, but we won't have them on our team. And I mean, and there's just going to be overall more positive thing going on.
yeah, I think that's exactly it. Like doing solo queuing, I've solo queued for, I had my first team season 2, and then that lasted for like 1 season, and then I solo queued for almost 4 years, never having that consistency, never having that team to fall back on that can say, hey dude, Dark, you're pushing too hard here, or you're not shielding up over here, or what the fuck are you doing over here? You can't flank that hard as Ryan, doesn't work. So it's good to have that. It'll be interesting to see how this all comes out. And this is, I think all of us too we only all have just our mains, and this is our first alternate account. If I'm
I have another alt account that I just started up
right.
as the practice. I don't really know, and I sort of abandoned it. It's sitting around doing nothing right now, gathering dust.
So for me personally, like I have 1,800 hours total in this game. It's my only account. I've learned so much from that first placement, which those first initial placements that starts your career in Overwatch. That's every future placement is going to be based off of somewhere in there how you did last season, and if you're not climbing progressively, then you get stuck. But at least that's the thought. The LOL. So now that I take all this knowledge combined with the team combined with the coaching that we're going to be taking on, combined with, you know, all that shit together, like, what is my real SR? I think this is the real opportunity to see, like, over 5 years, have I just been swinging my hammer, or have I actually been learning something?
We'll have some interesting predictions about that. So that's another cool thing about this over 40 watch is the fact that we're part of the farm. This is a new thing going on the farm, forming teams. So there are variously high, low SR teams that play now regularly, and one of the perks is getting access to all these awesome coaches we have here on the farm, and we're definitely going to have them weighing in on our progress, helping us out with VOD reviews, and you'll be seeing them throughout the season of this podcast. So it's gonna be cool.
I am so excited to have the Angry Llama do our podcast. He's such a funny guy. And Aim Not Brain, who, if you're watching now and you saw our live stream, was with us for a little bit. We'll have him back again. And this is a lot of really good coaches. We have a connection with Philo, which I'm kind of hoping that comes through. If we do a really good job with this, Llama's going to hook us up with some of his Overwatch League buddies. So that's kind of a thing. And this is the first time you're hearing this, but I have a dream of meeting Flats, and I actually live kind of close to him. So I'm thinking that I may push some shit and see if I can't get that fat bastard to meet me. And that would be kind of fun to get him on our stream.
You've mentioned Flats. I could know that you're quite an admirer of his Rhine.
Yeah, well, you know, when you know how to swing a hammer like he does, it's like, you know what really gets me about him is his ability to fucking charge. Like, and it's something I've been struggling with lately. My charges have been all over the place. When Flats charges, he hits, and he hits his targets every time. Like, he's just amazing to watch him. He knows when to do it. He knows how to do it. And he goes full Chad, like, look out. Like, I would be terrified to go up against him. So, and his stream's really good too. I think he's got a lot of cool shit to say. So, anyway, that's coaches. And, you know, if anybody else comes along that we think will be beneficial or help us out, or we can help them out, promote the cause, this awesome freaking game, Overwatch, for as long as it lasts.
For as long as it lasts. Yeah. Hopefully, long life to Overwatch. Hopefully.
So let me ask you, BJ. So it is season 31. We're 1 day, 24 hours in. No, sorry, Tuesday, right? When is season 31?
I believe it started yesterday.
Okay, well, we'll say yesterday. So I know I did a couple placements on Darkside. I can't say that I was overly happy with how it went, but let's talk about this for the project. This is fresh accounts. We're gonna flex queue into our placements, so we're not gonna define roles just yet. We have an idea of what our roles are going to be based on our mains and how we've done with them. But again, this is an opportunity to see what we really know.
That's right.
Where do you think you're going to fall?
Well, this is the thing. I mean, I have been silver for the longest time, low silver. Pretty much since Rule Q came in, it kicked me down a few hundred SRs, and so I've been hovering around 1600 since then.
On which role?
All three roles.
All
and so basically, what I believe is one of my main problems is that I just don't play a lot of comp. I just don't. So I don't put in the time. I think I am probably better than where I should be. I mean, I'm not going to say Elo Hill exists. I'm not hard stuck. I just don't play enough. So I am expecting, especially if we can really mesh together as a team, I'm thinking that I'm going to end up maybe low gold, let's say 19 to 2000, I'm not gonna risk higher than that. And I mean that's not a really bold prediction because I mean basically if we lose 5 games, I don't think we're gonna fall lower than that anyway. So it could be
so you
better,
think
right?
they'll go? Okay. So and we talked earlier, like, so you think that you're going to be heels?
Um, it's going to be very hard to tell because so our group, uh, a lot of us are support mains,
We're
uh,
very support heavy.
and and a lot of us, and I think most of us have their second most hours on tank. None of us are really great at DPS or have played it very much.
It's a young man's game.
So it's going to be an interesting discussion because uh, I predict that not very many of us are going to want to play DPS, and it's just going to be someone's going to pick the shortest straw on it.
Mhm.
Maybe someone will exceed expectations. I mean, that would be great. That's why I think why it's important that we all flex all roles initially, so we can at least have an idea of that.
Right. And then using those stats that we track, we'll do some analysis, we'll do some VOD review, we'll talk about it amongst as a group, and try to come up with the best comp that makes the most sense. And it doesn't mean that we won't, switch in and out. Like, for me personally, like I said before we started, like, I think that May, I think I have a really strong May. Even though I'm a Reinhardt main, I think I'm a Reinhardt main because I played the most amount on Reinhardt, but support is actually my highest SR by basically just booping and not being a Reddit Lucio. I've managed to climb the 2400, I think is my high. So I know my heals can be strong, but I think that I don't mind playing DPS. I think that's I've never actually played DPS as a main. I feel like my Hanzo, I could learn aim. I mean, I'm not bad. I'll show you later. I got some nice highlights of some stuff that I've done. Man. My ult utilization is pretty good. May is definitely my strongest DPS. So I think there's opportunities to play there, but I want to see how it comes out in the stats, what the analysis shows. Am I talking shit? Or am I really? Because the fun fact is that I'm sub 1,000 DPS, but 9-minute long queues, and when I queue up at the farm, DPS is definitely not lacking. Everybody wants to play DPS, so I get stuck playing Ryan a lot. When we grew up with comps, everybody knows that my Ryan's fairly strong and I'm good at it, so
you are the best Ryan of our group, that's for sure.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you. I've had some good coaches. That's again when I started the farm. We'll go back to the farm. How much it helps? 1,300 when I joined the farm on Ryan. As of last season, I was at 1864. I peaked out at almost 1900, but I didn't really play any comps at all. That all came from having Banana Dragon in my ear, having Big Daddy Street Meat, having him in my ear, having Archie in my ear, walking me through things, coaching me through, what the fuck are you doing? Do you want to talk about it, Banana? Like just going through those motions, having those coaches on the farm really freaking helped me understand what it is that I'm doing. And the great part too is that if we did have to flex somebody off of somebody didn't want to play DPS, they were doing good at Ryan, I can coach somebody on Ryan. I can teach that. Dudeman actually has a pretty good Ryan. So if it worked out where dude switched off of support, I went to support, he went up into Ryan, I could walk him through things. Easy.
My Ryan might not be as bad as I think it is.
Because I don't think
sometimes I die, like while I'm walking back, like, oh look, my team capped. My death was not in vain.
No, that's not to.
Because Ryan is very thankless, as you know. It's the
Yeah,
most thankless role, the most thankless. You die, you die. You're just there to be shot at and to die. And if you can kill stuff, I mean, that's great. I mean, you're the yeah.
yeah.
But yeah,
I don't want to pick apart Ryan too much right now, but like that you're exactly right. Like you have to be, and this comes. I played World of Warcraft, where I played a tank. You have to get used to dying. Like you have to. Like even your death is as long as you cap the point, it's never in vain. Like if you take one extra bullet from freaking soldier, that's one less that your mercy took. So good for you. Good meat
exactly.
shield. You did your job. Like you're sometimes, and sometimes it's more beneficial to keep on power boosting that soldier instead of healing me Eevee. We won't talk about that in Foul League finals. Anyway, so yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
So
there,
what?
there's opportunities to grow for everybody, I think, and because we all have you don't do 500 hours on one hero and not have something to offer somebody. Um, you know,
That's true. I have. So basically, I've main support since I've been playing this since 2 weeks after official launch, and I've played this game a lot. And back in the day before roll queue, I mean, you always get the insta-lock DPSs, and I mean, then I always had to decide, am I going to be the tank or am I going to be the support? It was often 1-4-1, right? So I just gravitated to support because you can run a comp without a tank, but you can't run a comp without a support. So I mean,
yeah.
I always just defeat it. I default to support, and I love playing support. I mean, that's often the role I play in just about any other kind of game, the healer slash support.
Mm-hmm.
And and I've played them all, and I find them all fun. They all have their place. They're quite well balanced,
Mm-hmm.
and so I mean, if I have to step up and be the support of this group, I'm going to be quite comfortable in that role, um, because I could flex to anything that's needed, to anything that could fit any comp.
Mm-hmm.
I like right now, I'd say my weakest support is probably BAP, just because I don't have as many hours on him as I have on the others.
Yeah, BAP really gets to me. The shooting and healing thing at the same time. It just never goes. I can't chew gum and walk at the same time, folks. It's not a talent I possess.
So, but I mean, again, we all are. A lot of us are pretty good at support, so we'll see how that falls. It might be the case of who's the least worst at what we should put. I mean, some of us have been one tricks for the most part up to
Mm-hmm.
now. Some of us probably have played a lot of all roles, but at a much lower,
Mm-hmm.
they've been lower SR. So
Well, I think it kind of speaks to us. Okay, so like we said, we all one trick. Like for me, I know like the first while, I've been playing since day one. I'd never even seen a freaking video of this game. I just bought it off of Steam because it looked good. Like I'm like Overwatch, oh, okay, sure, why not? And here I am 5 years later. So like we've all one trick, but for me, like when I first started playing, like I just wanted to get on and chill and just bash some heads. I had no
yeah,
intention of really being competitive. I had no intention. Just wanted to get out and play something that feels good, and that's just it. Like get home from work, kids are down, they're doing their thing. I want to settle in. I
and,
don't want to think. Just swing
and
my
I
hand.
think we can all agree that like Overwatch brings that special kind of rush.
Oh,
There's something so special about this game.
oh,
It's
the
so
dopamine is real.
fast. I mean, you get the highest highs and the lowest lows of this game,
Right.
don't you?
So you get locked in onto what feels good, whether it be just like lobbing bombs on Junkrat or clicking heads on Hanzo or whatever. But like you get into this mode, and then where you're not really thinking about switching anything. So you get locked in. That becomes your one trick, and then you do that for so long. And now here we are, like thinking about the game in a whole different way. So now,
Yeah,
like, how far do we want to branch out? I mean, do you want to go through the aim not brain friggin' program of becoming an Overwatch League contender, or it's there's hours to be put in, and if you put the hours in, you can learn anything. How,
That's right.
you know, where our DPS is our weakest role, like who's gonna step up and put that time in, or something's gonna click for them. I think that's what I'm excited for the most. Where like something's gonna click for one of you guys playing DPS, and it's just gonna be like, this is it. I had that moment on Soldier one time. I thought I was gonna be a Soldier main, and we're doing 3v3s, the elimination, and everything was just like, oh, I get this, I got it. It didn't last very long, but I understood it a lot more.
I had that moment on McCree. I thought I was like gonna like power my way out with McCree, and then there's a lot that I don't know about it. Right? Yeah.
Exactly. So I guess So I mean, it'll be interesting to see where things fall. It's, you know, fresh accounts, new season, placements. I want to get placements going.
So I have to ask you, what are you expecting for yourself? What do you think is gonna happen to you?
Well, I think I tried to allude to it. So I honestly, like, I know my Ryan is good. I honestly think that I'm a better Ryan even than my placements. I think that I can play at higher than I am. I think mid gold. I think I can definitely play at mid gold. Anyway, so I'm not worried about that, and I think you're right. I think I will end up being that way, but there is a lingering thing in the back of my head. Like when you compare stats and when you break it all down, I'm going to be competitive for DPS.
All right.
But that being said, like being a Mei main doesn't fit into every situation. So it's something that as a group we're gonna have to talk about what makes the most sense.
Yeah, because we are going to need a flexible pool, and that's one of our weaknesses as a group.
Yeah, you know what? I just thought of this too, dude. Like that actually makes kind of sense. So we take it situationally, map by map. Like I'm a good Mei. Say like dude's actually a good soldier, right? Oh well, we can't. So that sucks. I had an idea, but then I remembered that we roll Q now, and we can't switch mid match. I was like, it'd be interesting if like we could swap off. So like, what if we go into a situation where CC, or if we know on a certain map where Mei is going to be stronger than any of the other DPS, we can, and you know, maybe Ryan's not like such a big deal or whatever, but because I know from personal experience, like you can carry a Ryan with good DPS and good support. You can have a bad Ryan, or you can have a Ryan have an off day, and you can still win the match, especially at this level, at these ranks. So, you know, a situation where like say Hanamura is one of my strongest Mei maps. I play Mei on that one. Somebody else plays Ryan. You know what I'm saying? Like we can flex on those situations depending on the map, depending on the situation, depending on how the person's doing that day. You know.
Yeah, that's fine in a scrim environment. I mean, we've been playing a lot of scrim lately, so that's probably where you're getting that sense from.
Yeah.
Sadly, we cannot know ahead of time before we queue our roles what we're gonna get. So
yeah, well, we won't know the comp, but we'll know the map.
No, we won't.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, because
we won't. We definitely won't. I mean, you're queuing DPS. You have no idea what you're getting into.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I'm having a senior moment, so forgive me.
All good, my friend.
But so anyway, yeah. Okay. So there goes that idea. I was thinking we could just flex into DPS depending on how we were feeling, but whatever.
Well, I mean, if someone's feeling up to DPSing that given night, but I think for the beginning we're gonna stick to our assigned roles, just because that's gonna help build some team synergy. We're gonna learn how each of us, like we already have been playing fairly often with each other for some time now, but I mean we're gonna even like mesh even better. And then once I know we each know what the others are capable of, then we can start messing around with that.
Yeah, exactly. Like I've been playing with you guys, most of you guys, for so long. Honestly, Jin, I don't play with a whole lot, but she's always in chats. But Yeah, I feel like we've all been playing together for Dude and I especially have been playing together for a long time. Like,
I've played a lot with Dude.
yeah, exactly. So it's kind of like to have us all together in the same team, working towards the same goal. Minus the carries from Archie and Bruin and the kids. It's gonna be interesting. But so season 31, right? How many more seasons do we have before it's over? This is the big question. We saw that came out this was it was this week, right, where we heard Overwatch 2 is going to get delayed. How many more do we what does this delay look like?
Well, it was looking like they were aiming for there has not been an official release date set ever. So they're delaying something that hasn't even been officially set yet. It looked like the Overwatch League Grand Finals let us believe that Overwatch 2 was getting close to ready, and then they announced that they would be having the next season on the Overwatch 2 very early. I don't know if it would be an alpha or beta.
I think they were going with, I think it was going to be more or less in beta, but the framework was all going to be there. Everything was going to be there.
So that sort of led everyone to believe that it was maybe going to be a May launch. They were maybe line that up with the 6th anniversary of the game. But now, I mean, I've heard talk of it being beyond 2022, even if Blizzard, I believe, has tried to mitigate that by saying, no, that's not necessarily the case. There's been some blue posts, I believe, about that recently. So, and there's been some talk about, and strange rumors on Reddit about the game being altogether canceled. So that's scaring a few people as well, thinking that maybe the game will never come out.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be a complete, utter shame. And probably the end of Blizzard. Hey, we have Crow who just hopped into the chat. What's up, Crow?
Doing all right.
All right, we are recording live. No, we're not live, but we are recording. So, would you like to say hello and introduce yourself? What role? Well, I guess we can go back and go ask you a couple of the questions we asked before. So yeah, go ahead, introduce yourself.
Well, I'm Crow, and I mostly play support. Do a little off tank, and I guess that's long story short.
An awesome diva. That's so it's not just off tank; it's diva supreme so far. It's nice to have it. It actually kind of segues because now that you're more or less my tanking buddy, we're talking about Overwatch 2, and we're not gonna have a tanking buddy anymore. It's gonna be lonely on the front line.
There's that. It's going to be pretty interesting to see how that pans out with the solo take routine.
Yeah, a lot of adjustments. I have a feeling Overwatch 2 is going to be a very DPS centric game. So I'm
whenever we eventually get it. So yeah, we were discussing the state of Overwatch 2. When will it release? I mean, it's going to be later than May. It's going to be end of 2022. I mean, we'll see. Lots of rumors to the contrary, but we'll see.
I mean,
any opinions on this?
I mean, I'm just curious as to the nature of the delays. If a title has been scheduled for release and they're doing play testing and they're preparing for Overwatch League to start rolling this out, I would think they would have some confidence as to the state of the actual primary engine. That probably doesn't speak to any of the single player content or even the PvE content. So it's hard to say, how much still has to be done. Maybe there's, any number of factors. It's kind of hard to speculate on that because it's only until after it comes out do we really get some insight into, the happenings within the development teams. But as far as everything is concerned, with the type of language that's being thrown around, I've been given the impression it's going to be 2023 before we see this.
Yeah,
that is impressions that people are having. Um, yeah, Darkside, you had an interesting idea about what you thought might have been going on.
well, but my general theory, and I think this is going to be prevalent in any of the higher, was it A plus is what they call it, A plus games that come out at least for the next year, is falling into the cyberpunk trap. And Crow, you have way more experience and knowledge in this field than I do, but how scared do you think Blizzard is of like a cyberpunk situation where they way overpromise and then way underdeliver, especially when you have Overwatch League, you have a lot of, a lot of things going on with Blizzard, like the Cassidy situation and, their drama there. You release a game and it's not ready, I think Blizzard's fucked. So are they playing it safe and pulling back at the release and making sure they've worked out all those bugs so that they get a flawless launch?
I'm not even sure we're really talking about bugs. There was a promise for a lot of PvE content. As you're probably familiar with in other games, particularly online games like MMOs, it's a gargantuan challenge to provide enough content that won't get chewed through in 1 month. And I mean, it probably takes your development team years to create all this stuff, and your player base is going to chew through it within the month. And what do you got for them after that's over with? Is it enough? Is any of it have any replay value? Is there any problems with the layout, with how it flows, with all of the planned skill trees? Is if people start min maxing it, is there only going to be one particular you know uh, path of progression? It's stuff like that, and all that has to be kind of worked through. And this game didn't start with that much PvE content, so I think a lot of time is being spent on game design, in my opinion.
Yeah, I personally love what they did with the archive missions. That is probably my favorite event. And if they make expanded archive missions, like way more complex ones, and they have like a number of them, like 10 or so, uh, there's going to be a lot of replay. I mean, and there's supposed to be like progression trees on the characters, different branching outs, skills, stuff. I mean, I understand that the PvE element of the game has been finished for quite some time. I mean, they have no balancing issues here. They can do what they want with the characters and not worry about how, like, can they break the game? And I think that's what they're actually struggling with now. If they make, as we all know, they make a slight little patch balance change, and it just ruins the game. It'll make McCree too strong. It'll make Doom unkillable. It'll make Orisa Shields like
So you
last too
think so you
long.
think they're having an issue with the tweaks? Is that like
I I think they're having a ton of problems balancing the game for 5v5 and making game just sufficiently balanced with all the characters and all the characters we don't even know that exist yet. The new, like, there's supposed to be what, from 3 to 5 new characters. We have no idea how they're going to affect the balance of the game as it is now.
yeah, that's kind of I would think that if they were more far along in the game and there weren't all those bugs, they'd already be hyping that stuff up. Even if it's going to be another year release, a year till it gets released, I think they would have already started showing some of those just to keep the hype going.
Let's remember, the very first things they showed us was the PvE elements of the game.
Yeah, that's true too. What was that, BlizzCon, the online one?
Yeah. So another thing that you mentioned this, Darkside, very briefly, but all the ongoing scandals that are going on at Blizzard Activision right now, and all the top leadership that's left Blizzard, that
Yeah,
has, I mean, starting with Jeff Kaplan and a few others, several others, that I mean, that has to be taking a toll on the game development as well. I mean, are they promoting uh, people too fast that don't quite know how the like management works? I mean, what is going on there? I mean, is there still a toxic environment going on over there? I mean, maybe the Overwatch team. We have not heard very many rumors of
Well, I think they're
of
on damage control. But when you go on damage control, you tighten things up and you talk less. It just happens
yeah.
to be a moment when they're
But
getting
I
ready
mean,
to launch another
yeah.
game.
But I mean, in the sense that the individuals that have been named so far have all had to do with like the World of Warcraft team,
Mhm.
and no one has really been explicitly named from the Overwatch team. I believe it's called Team 4.
Mhm.
So, but even then, I mean, so there's lots of internal turmoil going on over there, and then we don't know what the toll of COVID has been on the
Yeah, so there's
development.
still a lot of people working from home too, stuff like that. People
And
that died.
they've repeatedly claimed that that's not slowing them down, but I mean, that might also be them saying what the investors want to hear. So what do you think, Pro?
It's kind of, I suppose in my experience, it really just kind of depends on at what phase they were during the development cycle. If we're really close to the end and you have disruptions like this, I would say they probably put things on cruise control. They may draw out the end, the sort of last final stages of their development cycle and release and testing. But generally speaking, they're just going to not make any major changes unless they get new people in who have a different sort of vision than their predecessors.
Right.
At which point you could be talking about some significant delays for that change in vision.
And whoever pitched it the best at at the last meeting is going to get that extra time or get scrubbed. Move
Yeah.
on. Yeah, change up things.
And we still have no idea why Jeff left. I mean, maybe I haven't heard. So, I mean, is it because his vision of the game couldn't be put forward and he felt he had to leave? Was he involved somehow in stuff that
Well, I
bad
mean,
things going on over there? I don't know. No one
Um,
knows.
you may find out the reason for leaving once you determine what his intention for what he's doing in the future. So, what has anything become of Kaplan? Has he done anything else? Is he planning to do anything else? And that might give us some indication as to, maybe some of his factors in determining whether or not, moving to a different course.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Maybe.
Because like you said, I mean, games take years in development. Like you could find out 3 years from now that he left and he's working on, the next big game, and we never would have known until it comes out, or somebody says something about it. So I don't think that he was part of what's going on. I from the like, and I I don't think he was part of what's going on, but I think that you'd be kind of blind to not be observant of what's going on, and I think that his leaving coinciding with a very long tenure on this project. I know if I was on a project that long, I'd get pretty bored and want to move on to something else. But also, maybe he just felt like this was his time to get out. Things were at a boiling point. He knew
Mhm.
something was going to happen. Eventually, you can only watch it from the sidelines for so long before you just situations like that. I've never actually worked in a big office like that, so but I have worked on a lot of construction crews and a lot of, jobs where that type of behavior that's going on in that office is kind of, permitted. It's not an easy thing to get rid of, and when you have that many people that are part of it in that big of an office, you kind of, I guess, feel like sometimes you have to sit on the sidelines and just kind of put up with it. And maybe he felt like he did put up with it for long enough and he had to leave. I don't want to speculate on that stuff because that's kind of like, you know, deep shit.
I mean, I'm
But
I'm sure that someday we're going to hear what
yeah,
went down.
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a correlation in it all. This is what I'm saying. But
I would say at the very least he may have been aware of the culture. Now, not to say that he was aware this was going to blow up, but myself being part of corporate culture for a few decades now, I could safely say that um, once you've been in a office or a large organization for a while, you become aware of how things are run, and it's much easier to just go to a different place than to try to change things. It's just that's just how
Exactly.
it is. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to get at. Was that, maybe you hear some things, you're not part of it, but you know how offices work. And politics are politics no matter where you go. You put 50 people in a room, there are going to be cliques, and there's going to be everybody's going to know everybody's business before the end of the month.
And that, folks, is the over 40 watch take on this.
Opinions
Decades,
do not
decades
reflect
of
the farm as a whole.
experience.
So yeah, that shit sucks, and it's unfortunate. It's changing.
I mean,
Hopefully, sooner than
hopefully,
later.
whatever happens to Overwatch 2, let's hope that at least Overwatch 1 sticks around for some time, because we're all just still
I
having fun
think
with
it
it, right?
will. I mean, look at Overwatch. I mean, look at World of Warcraft. Like, if what fucking 14 expansions later, and what do? Or World of Warcraft Classic. Let's go back to the game. It's just they have a tendency to keep their titles going sometimes, and like I think that if as long as there's enough of a player base, it's different from they are two different games. So I think you get a couple of people that will still want to play, or still want this flavor of Overwatch. So it'd be worth keeping it around for a while.
I think we sometimes underestimate how much people like the vanilla version of a game.
Yeah.
I mean, there are people still running EverQuest 1 servers,
Oh,
and
I'm one of them. It's on my computer.
yeah, so as long as there's an audience and there's some way to monetize it, or maybe some way to accommodate, then it's going to exist. And I think the whole vanilla WoW is definitely an example of that. Some people just like the way the game played at right off the get go before all of the expansions started happening.
Oh, we don't even. Lich King is the worst thing that ever fucking happened to a video game ever. Like everything past the Planes of Power. It wasn't Planes of Power. What was it? The one where you went off into the other planes. I forgot what it's called now. Burning Crusade. Yeah, I think that was the last good one. But classic WoW, money. Like, yeah.
This makes me think of an interesting question. So, if Overwatch 2 does go under, and the only way to support Overwatch 1 for them to monetize it is to actually have a subscription-based model. I think Overwatch could, I mean, with the player base that's stuck around this long, would they be willing to pay that?
No, absolutely not.
No.
Or use every game with me?
I've never bought a coin. I've never bought a freaking a skin. I would not. No. I stopped paying subscription games a long time ago. I would not do it.
I mean, I am not, well, I guess I'm not as adverse to subscription-based titles. It's just that Overwatch has established itself as a game where, because I mean, how could you monetize it really?
Promise
Because
to release regularly new stuff. I mean, if they could just use the revenue to keep building new stuff, new maps, new heroes, new this, new that, and have the resources to balance it all properly. I mean, if that was the only viable way that we could have Overwatch.
I mean,
if I wasn't getting a new zone every 3 months or so, I wouldn't have paid $12.99 for World of Warcraft. Like, there's no way. Like, if you don't give me new stuff, what's the point of playing?
yeah, and exactly the prior point that I had made about getting new content, on a regular basis. And the only way you can afford that is to have a high enough player base. I mean, if Overwatch was pulling 100,000 concurrent users every month, right, then and they were all paying subs in the first place, then you could justify doing it that way. But if all of these users um, bought the game and are playing, and they're and any new accounts that are being opened up, we have to consider that at this stage, a good portion of them are the same users who bought the game before, but are just creating new accounts. So, what's the real, you know, acquisition rate of your player base?
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. Like you'd have to,
Yeah.
yeah, you have to have a lot of people playing to pay for that shit because it's really
Yeah.
expensive.
People that
So-
are playing Overwatch today are pretty much the ones that have stuck around this long, and I mean, they're the addicted hardcore crowd that still wants to play this game.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. So, and no matter what happens, fucking Blizzard's stocks are gonna go through the roof, and everybody's gonna make money. But we need to move on to our VOD review of Kingsborough from last week. Crow, you gonna stick around and watch this?
I can watch.
Awesome.
I will be somewhat silent though.
That's okay. It's all good, man. DrBeejay is going to because he's our VOD reviewer, and the maestro on the camera. I can't. I like too many buttons, man. I'm like,
all right.
yeah, I'm like the least technical fucking tech guy that I know. Like, buttons scare me.
So I have to share my screen first, don't I?
Yeah, you share your screen, and then I will watch your stream, and then everybody out in YouTube land will be able to see our stream. And so, do you want to set this up for us? This is the old bones. We are playing. Oh,
Here is our
scrims.
bone team. So this is a scrim that we played 2 nights ago. It was against another farm team. So it was actually
A farm collab team. It was 2 different teams, right?
2 different teams, a higher SR and a lower SR team to us, that got together to challenge us. So here we were working mostly on communication. And so we all played roles that we felt that we were quite comfortable on. So here we have Crow on his Diva, and this here is Dudeman on the Lucio, and Keith on Moira. And here I am, a Citadel on the May, and here's the Darkside on his signature
Somebody
Rhine.
please buy that Reinhardt a good fucking skin. I can't stand
And
the basic skins.
right now I don't see Jin anywhere. Where is she? That's weird.
1, 2,
I'm
3,
supposed to have
4,
Jin
5.
somewhere.
I don't know if she locked in. She's missing. Jen, where are you?
It's supposed to be on Soldier. Oh, she's up here.
She's up there.
There she is.
Things that
All
went
right.
wrong.
So off the bat, Dudeman is he's been their shot caller throughout that night, and he was directing us to go through the cinema, set up, and go down behind statue and push on the point. That was our plan coming out of the gate. So here we go. I attempt the wall off, and I miss that. So here we are setting up, and look who comes flying in. If it isn't our very own Bruin on his signature Doomfist. And we knew he was going to be a problem, probably, if he was allowed to play Doomfist. So
That's it. Get that man in
we
his face. Yep.
absolutely messed him up, and he's gone. So here we are, say we're up 1, let's go, let's push. And we're sitting around waiting.
Yeah, set up the high ground.
Yeah, and then Jin went down. So here we're even. And Doomfist is going to be coming back soon.
Can we back that up real quick? I want to back that up just for a second. Where did Jin go wrong there? What happened here? Because it actually works out perfect. Like look at she's on the high
set
ground.
up in the right place.
Crow sets up perfectly. Like that's exactly where we should be up there.
She gets dinked in the head by, I believe, Torb, right? So
wall goes up. Look how good this is. Like wall is up, gives us a minute to set up. Right? This is absolutely perfect. This is exactly what May should do. Right? We should. I should have slowed down right there.
Yeah.
And give it just another second. But so Jin went down because of Torb, you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think she got a bolt in the head.
Right.
So here we call for the reset because we've lost our run. We actually took that fight 5v5 initially, but so yeah, a few of us go down. We have to reset properly here.
Mm-hmm.
There's Perun not getting too much value. And he's out, almost
Well,
dead.
that's like locking him down,
That's-
man.
Yeah, so here we go. Same plan. We're going up top. Here comes Bruin again, not getting too much done. And then we drop down, and then this is go time. Yeah, because we had our coalescence up. We get
You get
shattered.
shattered. Oh, that was the
Cancelled
sidestep.
out. Yeah,
Hey, Dudeman.
What's up, guys?
so that was fantastic bomb. And here we go, capping the point. And that we have trouble with the Lucio. Oh, I gotta get down here. Finally dies. Doomfist trying to stall, but wreck him once again. So, let's go over here. So now we gotta move up to this corner, right? For some reason I'm not there.
But we were pushing payload. You guys were, we had 3 on it at that point. We just need 1 on it right there.
So here.
Okay, so pause real quick.
Yeah.
Right, so this is a common occurrence, right? You just capped point A, you got the payload. This is the first place you've got to fight, right?
Mhm.
And so, like, the standard bronze method is to just poke.
Over here, yeah, lots of broadens will just back the payload and wait for the other team to just come out.
Yeah, sometimes it happens at choke, but it really should happen here. I mean, you can
Yeah.
certainly dictate that.
Yeah, that
But-
as Ryan, that's always going to be my next point right there. If I can get that next corner, like up where Amara is, if I can
Yeah.
get up there, I'll get up there. And if I have to back up a little bit, I'll back up. But this is my point here. I don't want to lose the bookstore.
So here's kind of my question: is there another way to fight this first engage after you capped A? You know what I mean?
Lots of times when you wipe the team and they're not yet on their way back, it's actually a good idea to push all the way over here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of this space,
Yeah.
but they were basically all sitting here, and they had time to regroup here before we could even get the cart out of the.
Well, part of that is because
Yeah.
we should have, as a group, we have Lucio, right? Okay, keep this in mind. So we have Lucio, we have May, and we have Soldier and who else is back there? Okay, so we have Soldier and Moria back here. Soldier should have stayed on the Moria or Soldier. One of them stays on the payload. Everybody else pushes up. We could have pushed that all the way up as a 5 stack. Well, look what's happening now. 1, 2, 3 is all we would have faced as a 5, and we have CC all over the place. We have May. If it gets out of control, May throws a wall up, we can back up. Lucio hits
The
the speed
moment
boost.
we cap, there are 5 of them here already. There was only Bruin had installed, so I don't think there was a chance for us to actually push on this
because
particular
Bruin got
game.
behind us. Is that what?
Yeah, he just died, or we just got finished off with Lucio and him,
Okay.
and Lucio's already back. You see, our payload's not even out yet, so I don't think that we could have taken this engagement this soon.
Okay, so that's a fair point. But let's keep that in mind in the future. That's basically the philosophy right there that we should have in mind, is that if we can get up there and get them to stagger, then that's what we should be doing. 1 person on the payload is sufficient as long as we're winning up front.
So what I recognize here, though, is that we have some ults
Oops, sorry.
that are available right now. So
I messed
you
that
missed Shatter, but everything gets thrown here, basically. So here we've got Captain being a real problem back there.
And that's just falling back. We should have fallen back to take that,
Yeah.
especially Azaria back there. Like,
So we just wait for the Q to expire. And then how do we actually get through? I think we recognize, yeah, we get the Rhine down, and then we're able to push in on them.
yeah, see, he keeps on pushing to the right of the payload. I'm watching his healers.
This is
at that point.
fantastic.
Oh,
ball.
this was what
That's
really broke it open. Yeah.
I mean, Amara had some really great fields throughout this match, but I mean, there's only so much a field can do against a diva bomb being taken advantage of that way.
Amara was my healer for the foul league, for the sloths. Man, we worked so hard on those lamps.
So here's a good example of us doing what you just said, pushing up, taking all that space preemptively.
Yeah, and we get this. That wall basically ensured that cap, like they couldn't touch. You know.
Yeah, that's the beauty of the May Ryan fucking push, man.
So they're losing.
Wait, hang on. Back up 10 seconds and pause it. Okay, so right here, we as a team have to delete that.
Yep.
That can never go unpunished. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And he's often jumping around the point like that throughout this whole C offense. And we don't punish him
that's a
lot,
May
if
Ryan,
ever.
May Ryan.
And like, I think #1 person to put on. So Lucio, Moira, Moira against Lucio, Genji, Tracer, those like agility heroes, you know.
Yeah.
Get in your back line. We got a natural counter to that with Moira.
Yeah, and with May too, because May can slow down any Lucio. And if I'm swinging on him, like we had all the tools there to take care of him.
Yeah,
I love this play coming up right here. So Darkside, he called for me to drop the wall. They couldn't see what was going on, and then I mean, boom, shattered the windows, useless.
See if I hit speed. How quickly I can get to speed here.
Yeah, you're still on heels, but
still on heels. Didn't never even switch.
And Amara has a nice field to stabilize them there. But yeah, we don't take advantage of that enough, unfortunately. They are respecting us a lot by backing out. You see, again, he's on the payload, Lucio. I try to punish him, but yeah, Bruin punishes me. I was overextending there.
Cassidy was protecting him in that situation, and Cassidy on May is Cassidy's gonna win most of the time because you can't get voice blocked.
So again, we call the tactical retreat. I was quite happy they sort of wasted feet there for no reason. So here we do a real hard reset here. Hard reset and then go out. And here, Dudeman again calls out a pretty good plan of going out around here and using this cover to not get shot at and not be seen too much. But I think our plan was misunderstood because Darkside and I understood that we were going over to this big health pack, but Dudeman meant for us to stabilize on this one over here. So you're gonna see that play out.
Which is basically, so just to clear, like we were playing off soldier strength, our long range DPS in that situation. I think that's the mid range DPS in the situation, because that's the only advantage that we have there.
Here we are. I was throwing out the blizzard, and I didn't quite realize it was just the two of us. And by the time the others get here, another great field.
Hang on a second. Do me a favor real quick. Back up to the rollout coming out of spawn a second ago.
Yeah, it's a good idea. I want to talk about this more too. Well, we talked about this that night. About that.
Okay. Okay, stop right here. Go behind the blue team. Set up behind blue team. Right now. Okay. So if we come main, they set up basically with this angle, right? And they wait for us to come around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we basically are both playing around that corner right there. It's the only thing we're doing. We're just both teams poking back up. But if we go here, now pause it.
Pause, yeah.
Okay. And just assume we all set up here, even over on the right. You know, like we can have the May and the Diva for sure come over here to the left side to that mega room. Right, and create angles and shit, right? Mm-hmm. But like, if our Rhine, go back to the setup there.
You mean over here?
Yeah, the straight ahead look. Now, if our Rhine comes out, he brings his shield. What cover do they have? the cart is it, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then or else they got to give up this whole alley straight ahead to play on the cover of this little mega room.
So
That we basically control now too, because they got to like come in these two little doors to a space we already control. And so like we've basically taken away all of their hard cover, other than obviously the cart, and taken control of both megas.
So now put that. Okay, I agree with everything you said. Makes sense, except for one thing: the amount of distance that I have to cover as Ryan from that high point right there, where where Janaria is. Okay, where you wanted us to set up by the mega pack up there. The distance that I have to cover from there to get to the payload to be able to engage that other tank, while I have BAP shooting me, Torb shooting me, Lucio shooting me. I have all that DPS coming at me. By the time I get to engage with them, my shield is gone. So all the healers
if you come straight at them.
Yeah, if I go.
Yeah, well, if you come straight at them, but again, if Diva is on high ground and May is in the mega room, okay, now all of a sudden, what are they going to do? Well, okay, they can sit there and focus Ryan Shield and do 1,600 hit points of damage while May and Diva just have a field day back there. And then we've also got, or else they could drop their shield, turn around, and fuck with Diva or May drops their ult right there and freezes them, and all of a sudden, what do we pop in? Visor, and mow them down. I think in this moment right here, and it's not even like it has to be Ryan. You walk up this whole length. You could even drop down on the right and kind of take the little platform by the drop off by the hole right there.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. That there is a
and then because Soldier's still got his natural cover. He kind of plays there, but I still think just that rotation coming this way basically takes that space between us and the card as ours, and really almost both rooms in the way that they played it.
Yeah, I think I just more or less I want you to understand where I was coming from. Like my thought, and I'm going you're a shot caller, so we should work on these strats that you decide. So
yeah.
Okay, so but just so you hear me out on this, my thought here is that I'm saving my shield the whole entire time. I know that they don't have a Junkrat, so going into that small room isn't really much of a concern for me because I have my I have my Lucio with me. I had Soldier spamming from the front. I had Moria with me. I had plenty of heals inside there. I could swing my way out and still have my shield if I needed it. So I was thinking of that. Again, just so you understand.
No. I think it totally made sense, right? And I think coming around, if you kept coming around and just popped out that first spot instead of going all the way through the mega room, you basically covered half the distance now without your shield. And everybody's still got hard cover too, That could even be a play there.
Because we have cover. The way I was thinking about it was this. We all without you amping us, but just speeding us here really fast. I knew I had Blizzard. I knew I was going to throw it here, and I was hoping at this moment, we're here, you amp, we go, boom, the ice is here. If Jin is still here, they have a decision. Jin is going to ult, and either he's facing that and we're here and we're wrecking them, or he turns around to assist with what's going on there, and Jin's shooting him in the back.
Go back into the room, please. Go back into there, and then the other room, into their room, into the mega room right there, and then. Okay, so look at here. Okay, so Jin's shooting him, Soldier's shooting him from the front. That eventually, at some point, that Ryan shield's going to go down, right? We have two angles here that we can play. They have a very small space. If we poke from either one of these, they're going to die. We're going to have angles on them. Yeah. We can basically pinch them in, hit their supports, and there's no pressure from that Torb turret either. Look at that. There's nothing
at all. None.
He blocked his own Torb turret. So
I thought we needed to rush, get right in their face here. They had nowhere to go.
So the lesson for this week was communication. So next time, this is the post communication. We need to listen to Dudeman. Dudeman, which one of these strats do you want to pick? And you can, we can flex on that. We just have to make sure that we're clear before we come out what we're gonna do.
Yeah, and so we're gonna have to be okay with taking a second at spawn and thinking through shit, because like there's going to be times where it's like we got a minute and a half on the clock, but we're going to sit here for 5 or 10 seconds and say, oh, think through okay, well, what we do is May go drop this, soldier use your visor, after she does it, go,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and those would get quicker obviously the more we do it, but
Oh yeah,
I think
more
the team
repetition,
aspect makes us think about the game in dimensions we've never really done it.
well, I think
Even just random six stacking, like
That you can't do with solo queue.
solo queues.
There's no way to plan those like that.
I've heard the llama
Yeah.
say many times that there's a difference between the gold and the plat players. Like the players that slow down, take the time, are the ones that succeed the most. And that's, you gotta think through your strats. You have to think quick. Eventually you'll get there where it becomes second knowledge.
Yeah. Well, then at that point, the rotation we'll know we rotate that way, because like seriously, just pause and like go back to the entrance to point C as a fly. You don't have to start over. I'm just saying fly in the camera.
Oh, I thought you wanted to. You mean over here?
Yeah, like coming all the way where the caps point.
Over
No,
here?
where it caps back on the other side. The start.
Oh, over here.
Yeah, like every map's built this way. Like where it's got main and everybody just goes down main, but there's always this side route that has a ton of cover.
Yeah.
And nobody ever does it.
Yeah.
But this,
No,
I mean, like
because people just want to go straight point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like you go up, like if we just do that, like that's gonna befuddle bronze like crazy,
And that's the thing. Like, I want to make sure that as we go through these sessions and we talk to coaches, like I want to make sure that we emphasize like that's what are the proper, what angles are we not seeing, which pathing are we not seeing that we could try out. We should be taking. Just like taking high ground, like in the past 6 months, I've learned more about high ground than I thought I ever would, because that's what everybody on the farm does, is they all go high ground, and well, for the most part, the good teams do.
Dude, I get on heroes now, and I'm like nervous when I'm on the ground,
Because you're not supposed
like
to be there,
yeah, like monkey or doomfist or any sniper, or
Yep, exactly. We can talk about that some other time. There are issues with being on high ground. That can come into different ways that people perceive vision. Being on high ground does play a part. Go ahead, BJ. Sorry, we've derailed.
So yeah, we're gonna fortunately lose this. Again, look, that Lucio should have gotten killed like 10 times.
Yeah.
And Captain is just wrecking us. He was like on C. He was basically carrying them on Zarya. He was high energy almost throughout that whole thing. Valiant attempt on Ball to get back, but yeah. So that was our attack. We got it almost all the way.
I think let's end it with that one for this one, because we're kind of late.
All right.
So
yeah.
But
sounds good.
But I think the next thing, so like, Dudeman, Crow. Hey, MrTux, how you doing? MrTux is listening in on us. Shh. So, what would you guys say, like, from this week, the lessons that we were supposed to be working on communication? What's your biggest takeaway from this week? Dudeman, hit me with it.
I feel a lot more confident going into placements after this week than I did last week. Like I thought our communication exponentially improved, and like our cohesion and everything, and I think I am cautiously optimistic now, where I was a little bit pessimistic before we go.
See, I've heard from MrTux being one of them, and also from the llama, that our communication has always been good. That, I mean, knowing different things, like, keeping it short and simple, like tracer point, being clear like that, and, making sure we have one single shot caller. But one of the compliments that I always hear from people is that our communication always seems to be pretty solid.
Yeah.
So what about you, Crow?
Oh, so Yeah, I would have to agree that our comms are very useful. I do think that in some of our adventures in quick play that we should probably start rehearsing like some of the names of things, because I noticed that when we do call outs on things like whether someone needs healing or whether someone needs appeal, that we are using pronouns to try to address things, and we could probably look at visiting how to indicate exactly where things are happening. But other than that, yeah, our comms are good.
I do have that resource we got from our foul.
You get the maps?
Yeah, I think I still have them pinned. We have them somewhere. That stuff that Brush made available
I
to
was just
us.
about to go grab them.
Those are good questions to ask the llama too, again, because he's gonna be such a good resource on stuff like this. Because I know he's in a couple of things with call outs and stuff like that. Like, but I think all of us speaking the same language, I think, is kind of the best way to put it. Like, we always need to make sure we're speaking the same language, that we're speaking it clearly, and just like any other organization, somebody has to be in charge, and we all have to learn how to cue in to the Dudeman, like when he's calling something out, that kind of, our brains shut down and we stop thinking and we start just doing. And it'll be interesting to see, like you said, 6-stack, all on one team, no friggin', no worry about levers and none of that stuff. It'll be, we all getting to know each other. So,
Yeah.
awesome.
So so that, I think that's gonna wrap it up for our very first episode.
Yeah, we're gonna so I know tonight, is it tonight? Tonight they are actually, they do some scrims on the farm. MrTux, did they do friggin' scrims on the farm tonight?
I just got back from taking my kids to a birthday party, so I don't know.
Oh, actually,
Yeah.
okay. I think they were
It,
scheduled.
it used to be Pug Night, but Pug Night is now Pug Afternoon on Saturdays these
Are they doing
days.
Saturdays? Hold on, I'm trying to find the things.
They've been
but
Saturday.
It's okay. So Friday or Saturday nights on the farm. We are anxiously waiting for news on when our new foul league comes up. Wicked excited. Hopefully MrTux is going to be sitting in on that and giving us updates as our little vodcast here progresses. And he does a really awesome job color analyzing the foul league matches, and we'll dig into that. Oh, you know what we didn't do? We didn't introduce the Dudeman. He is actually the one who came up with all this fucking idea. So, Dudeman, do you want to say hello and introduce yourself?
Hey guys, what's happening? Thanks for having me on the podcast.
Awesome.
You're welcome anytime, man.
That's an amazing introduction. I love you. I'm gonna clip that. That's gonna be like the opener.
Pugs are on Saturdays.
Oh,
Saturday
goodness.
afternoons.
Saturday afternoons. So, people, the whole like 2 people that may or may not watch this, if you're ever looking for shit to do on a Saturday, you should check out the farm. Discord.gg/the angry llama. Is that right, Tux? Is that how that goes? I'm gonna have to write that down.
Yes, it is.
Awesome. See, I got a good freaking memory after all.
We will talk about the farm a lot more in the upcoming episodes.
Yeah.
We will have special guests. I mean, we're gonna do more games. We're gonna talk more about what's going on with the experiment. I mean, I hope you guys tune in for that. Thanks for watching. Looking forward to the next episode, and I mean, peace out. See you guys.
The angry llama is gonna be on our next episode, dude. It's gonna be awesome.
Oh, nice.
So we're going to, our next live stream will be Wednesday night at 9:30, and then we will pick one map, and the llama's gonna break it down with us. He may do fucking his angry llama stick. He may break it down for real. We don't know. I'm gonna leave that up to him. So he may end up roasting us. But
I'm fine with that.
I got a shitload of questions. So if you guys have any questions, if you want to say and ask the llama some questions, that would be fucking awesome.
If we're too raw, man, he's just gonna have to cook us.
Yeah, right. So I have to work it out with Cindy to get his schedule. But anyway, cool. Let's end this shit. DrBeejay, you're fucking amazing. I love you. Thank you.
And you are great as well, my friend.
Awesome. Dude, man, Crow. We out.
Hey, thanks, guys.
Thanks for being here.